Welcome to The Lion Within Us, a podcast serving Christian men who are hungry to be the leaders God intends you to be. I'm your host, Chris Granger. Let's jump in. All right, guys, let's get right into it. This is our fun Friday. We're going to start off, though, with Scripture because that's the way we start every episode. You should know this by now, right? All right, so we're in the book of Isaiah this week, chapter 41, verse 10. It says, "Do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand." So, guys, if you like this verse, go back 2 episodes ago to the spiritual kickoff. I spent some time unpacking this to help you simplify and apply this to your life. And as a reminder, we do this every day in The Lion Within Us. We have our daily spiritual kickoff Monday through Friday every morning. We read scripture. We talk about how to apply it to our life. It's a good little boost to get you going. So it may just be what you need. Because if you're trying to just plug in maybe for one Sunday church service, something like that, that's not enough. You have to be in the Word each and every day. And we're just trying to give you a little supplement for you, give you that little boost, like a little daily vitamin to get you going. So, guys, go check that out. Again, thelionwithin.us is how you do that. But that scripture is powerful, absolutely powerful verse that tells us to do not walk in fear and remember that He is with us always. All right. So now for our meet episode this week, we had Dr. Gary Chapman. I can't believe we were able to get him on the show, but it was just such an honor to meet him. You guys probably know him from the 5 Love Languages. It's just a well-renowned book all over the world, millions upon millions of copies sold, and his commitment to just helping people grow these long-lasting relationships is just phenomenal. So I had just a blast working with him. We were talking so much about his book, but the big thing that I remember the most was around, he said for his marriage, which he's been married for 62 years, let's not forget that. Do not downplay that for a second. 62 years. The key to him was having an attitude of service. That was the key for his marriage, having an attitude of service towards each other. And he asked the questions, what can I do to help you? What can I do to make things easier for you? And then what can I do to be a better husband? And those 3 simple questions, I know they're super simple, but man, what a great way to just open conversations, to be intentional about growing a strong marriage. Because your marriage can't be centered on the children. No, it has to be grounded on serving each other and ultimately serving the Lord together. So I just so blessed and honored to have him on the show. I highly encourage you, if you haven't listened to that episode, maybe you skip by it or something, go back and listen to it. You're going to be blessed, I promise you, by the things that he shares and the way that he is building us up. Okay. All right, guys, let's get into our tips this week. We've got a health, wealth, and a self tip. Okay. Now, again, for you new listeners out there, the health tip is how do we have stronger minds and bodies? Because the evil one is trying to steal, kill, and destroy. He's going to take us out. We know that he's going to attack our minds and our bodies. Our wealth tip is being better stewards, particularly around our finances, with our careers, and trying to do the things with money that God's called us to do. And then our self tip is going to be how do we have better, stronger husbands and fathers? What can we do to start shoring that up? All right. So now let's get into the health tip. Think about this for a second. Bedtime routines are so important as you start laying this stuff out and trying to create healthy habits. Sleep on scripture. So when you think about that bedtime routine, start including some time in the Word. Maybe you're just reading Psalms, Proverbs, something easy to just calm your mind, your spirit, and promote a restful sleep. If we often think about it. I know for me too, in the mornings, I naturally just first thing I'm doing is scripture, in the Word, prayer, all that stuff, right? In the evenings, usually I don't think about that. So take some time in the evenings, particularly if you struggle with going to sleep. I don't have that issue. I can lay my head on the pillow and I'm out in a minute. But I know lots of guys out there struggle with it. So if you struggle with going to sleep, invite some scripture in. Take some time to just meditate on that. You may find it right here, that scripture just lowers your angst. Maybe it stresses, anxiety is going to go away. I know for me, this has been the biggest thing in my life to combat anxiety. It's just quoting scripture. Just quote scripture. And just let that just be what ministers to that troubled spirit. All right. All right. Now for your health tip, for your wealth tip. We've already done the health tip today. So the wealth tip though, one-on-one stuff here, guys. You better have an emergency fund. And here's the deal. When you have an emergency fund, obviously you want to have 3 months. That's a general rule of thumb. But as you have kids and your risk tolerance goes up, you need to be increasing that. sometimes 6 months. Maybe you need to even push that out to 8 to 10 months. Whatever it is, make sure that you're diligent in putting this emergency fund, and you need to make sure as well that emergency fund is not easily accessible. I'll say that again. The emergency fund cannot be easily accessible. Now, and it can't be impossible to access, but what I mean is the typical account that you use on your day-to-day transactions, maybe a debit card or a credit card or whatever that is, whatever institution that you have that set up with, you don't want to have the same thing for your emergency fund. Make it to where you physically have to go or to a different website or whatever it may be to separate to access those funds. I know for us, that means our emergency fund stays in our local credit union. And we have another bank that we do our banking. And that's just the way we have it set up so that we physically, if I'm going to touch that account, I need to make sure that I'm taking some intentional steps. It can't just be as easy as I log into one and I make that simple transfer. No, I want to make sure that when I access that emergency fund, that I'm accessing it just for that, a true emergency. So that hopefully that makes sense. And guys, I'm telling you, this is a big area. Lots of guys miss. They oversight it. And look, it doesn't take a lot of effort, but it does take some intentionality to get that emergency fund in place. But it may mean some initial sacrifice up front. But I'm telling you, we're called to be good stewards. That stewardship is important. Don't sleep on this one. Put that in place. All right. Now for your self-tip, fellas. Dr. Gary Chapman actually gave this one to us at the very end of his conversation. But do one marriage book or family parenting book a year as a couple. Now, he recommended, I thought that was pretty interesting. That's why I changed it. I had the tips already wrote out, but then when he shared that, I was like, okay, I got to adjust it. Think about this for a second. When you have a marriage book or a family parenting book, you read them separately, but come together and talk about what did I learn the most from this chapter? How could that apply to our situation? What do you think we should consider based off the author's suggestions to implement? And you know what? That's a really good tip, because if you're intentionally every year working to get better and using outside resources like that. Now, obviously, the Bible is the best book on marriage and parenting out there, so you need to be spending that devotional time anyway. But there are good resources, just like the love languages, or like the book that he has here, The 5 Habits of a Healthy Family, that will really help you grow. So lean into that. Look for those opportunities. And it may mean for you as the husband, take the bull by the horns here and just order 2 books. Just maybe get 2 of Gary's books and just order them and say, hey, okay, we're going to look at, I want to do this with you, honey. And here's what I want to do it for. I want to be a better husband. I want to serve you better. I want to make our family and our marriage it may be good now. I want to make it phenomenal. And I know that I have a part of this, and I want to do this with you. And I'll tell you, if you approach it that way with a humble heart, with this attitude of service, like Dr. Chapman talked about, it's going to lead to phenomenal things. So there's your tip, fellas. Go get that book, 1 per year, and just start working through it. All right, so there are your health, wealth, and self tips. That health tip, sleep on that scripture. Start implementing that in your nightly routine. The wealth tip, the emergency fund needs to be part of what you do with your personal finances. So if you want to be a steward that God's called you to be, you better have that emergency fund in place. And then 1 marriage book a year between you and your spouse, or it could be a parenting book, but something related on family and growing as a couple. All right. So guys, the book of the week, surprise, surprise, surprise. We have a copy of it right here. Let me get this out. Right here it is a copy of it, fellas. It's 5 traits of a healthy family. Steps you can take to grow closer, communicate better, and change the world together. So I absolutely love this one. It's an easy read for sure. It's only 140, 150 pages, something like that. It's a great resource here for you guys. Highly encourage this. Obviously, Dr. Gary Chapman is known all over. This is a good complement to the love languages. He talks about the love languages a little bit in this book as well. But we're trying to help you as Christian men grow the families and be the leader that God intends you to be. Let's just be real. Let's be honest with this. And it takes some focused work, some intentionality. We can't run away from the hard stuff. We have to lean into it. So hopefully resources like this will encourage you and get you pointed in that right direction. All right? All right, guys. All right, guys. So now let's get to our dad jokes. Got 2 good ones this week. So dad joke number 1 is, what did Jonah's family say when he told them about what happened before reaching Nineveh? This sounds fishy. So there you go. This sounds fishy there. That's what Jonah's family said. Number 2, why did the physics teacher break up with the biology teacher? Because there was no chemistry. We all know that one. So there you go, fellas. Let us know which one gets a good chuckle at your house. And number 1, what did Jonah's family say when he told them about what happened before reaching Nineveh? That sounds fishy. And number 2, why did the physics teacher break up with the biology teacher? There just was no chemistry. So guys, again, dad jokes, eye rolls totally count. And if you have a dad joke you want us to use, support at thelionwithin.us. Send your dad joke in. If we use it on the show, we'll give you a shout out. We'll give you some free resources as well, just for hooking us up and helping us out. All right. So now the question of the week this week, guys, has been really focused on tough times relating back to this Isaiah scripture. But where do you find your strength in those tough times? Just think about that for a second. I mean, where are you going to find your strength at? Because if you put your strength in you and you alone, you're going to run out eventually. You're going to hit a hurdle at some point that you can't move. We need to recognize when we put our strength in the Lord, man, it changes the game. It changes everything for us. And that's my encouragement to you, is find your source of strength in God the Father. All right? So, guys, thanks so much for listening. Again, you can go to thelionwithin.us to get all our resources. We're on YouVersion. We have all the different devotions out there in YouVersion. We have our daily SKO. You can take advantage of that. We have our Lion Within Us community where we're doing discipleship mastermind groups. We have that going on. We have tons and tons and tons of ways that we're serving people. We're trying to help people grow. And guys, we're just leaning in to do what God's called us to do to help you do what God intends you to do. So that's what it's all about, fellas. So a rating and review for the show definitely helps. If you haven't done that, that would be huge. Just hit 5 stars, give us a 1 or 2 sentence rating. That would be phenomenal. That stuff helps the algorithm. All the social media channels from Facebook to Instagram to LinkedIn, Twitter, all the stuff's out there, guys. We have great ways to connect with you. But our YouTube channel is probably the most, it's not probably, it is the most growing avenue for us. So go subscribe to our YouTube channel. Hit that little bell, subscribe for us. We'd love to have you be part of following us, what we're doing there on YouTube. Very excited for what's going on there. We try to pull a couple of shorts pretty much every day. So if you follow us on YouTube, you'll get at least a little encouragement from the Lion Within Us twice a day. That's our commitment to you. All right. And then again, the lionwithin.us is how you can also support the show. So if you like what we're doing, if you want to just be, you know what, I'm not really need the community right now, but I want to support what you're doing to the Lion because you're getting a lot of encouragement out of it. Hop on, be a monthly donor, be a monthly supporter, because all that helps us continue to do what God's called us to do. Because let's just face it, this is a lot of expenses, a lot of time, a lot of resources, and your support would be phenomenal. All right. So have a great day. Thank you so much for listening. I just really appreciate you taking the time just to come to the Lion. I would love for you to go to thelionwithin.us as well to check out all the resources there. All right. So come back next week. Good Lord Willow has some episodes for you ready to rock and roll. Have a great weekend. Get after it. And remember, keep unleashing the lion within.
House cats, go ahead and skip this message. This is for the lions, because we know that the evil one is coming at you daily, trying to steal, kill, and destroy everything in your life. We recognize that you try to face each day with strength, determination, and purpose. But even the strongest need a brotherhood behind them. At the Lion Within Us, we created an online Christians men community where we can grow, connect, and strengthen your walk with God. It's more than just a community. It truly is a brotherhood. Be warned, this is not for the faint-hearted. This is where you push your limits, growing stronger in your faith, and rising above the ordinary. Here, we challenge you to become the leader God intends you to be. The time to act is now, and your 30-day free trial is waiting. No excuses, no delays. It's time to step up and join the community. Head over to thelionwithin.us. That's thelionwithin.us to get started today.